Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. I come in humbled, peaceful spirits tonight. The only thoughts of tonight is how do I reach y'all? Because we live life so complicated and it's a much easier way. And it all has to do with the amount of knowledge or intellect that is being used. And it's a deep thing. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know sometimes I tap into my divine self and I just go off the divinity of the knowledge that I have. I go beyond what man can perceive. In certain videos, I do this for those who have a certain intellect. Now, in this video, I want to do the same. I want to tap into my divine spirit. But I don't want to lose anybody on this message because this is very important, especially while I'm in good, peaceful, humbled spirits. It's the best time to receive the knowledge. But I need everyone to lock in on the words that I say in this video because it's very important. Now, there was a time in the life where men were in tune with the life and all the living things in the life. They were in tune, there was a sense of oneness, and they understood life. Everyone had their individual relationship with the life. The life was teacher. Earth was mama, teacher, provider, and everything. And men were in tune. And men had a sense of understanding of tone. This is why you noticed in the past there were a lot of banging on drums and just sound making. Men had an understanding of tones and the effect that tones had on the life, meaning the living beings in the life. Now, tones or sounds, they have an effect on you. You know this. If you're crossing the street or something and someone honks a horn, this has an effect on your spirit. Most people, it startles them, and this brings about a sense of aggravation. People tend to get aggravated when you honk your horn at them. Now, I say that just to show you that tones are sounds. They have an effect on your psyche or your spirit. Police sirens, all different sounds, they have an effect on your spirit. Now, some tones like a car horn honking, we can relate to that. So when I give you that example, you can relate to that and you say, yeah, I know. Car honking, that tone, that sound, it does have an effect on you. Now, there's certain tones that affect the spirit in other ways that may not be noticed. I just use that one as an example to prove to you that tones do have an effect on your spirit. Now, if you've ever been at a party and you're standing right next to the speakers, I'm not sure if it's done the same way as when I was growing up. But when I was growing up, we had house parties. The speakers would be right next to us. And if you were standing next to the speakers, you could feel the bass and vibration all through your body. So you couldn't necessarily hear the tone of the music if you were too close to the speaker. But you felt the vibration of the music. And it's being as though you knew the music, this is how it vibrated through you. And so if you was listening to a reggae song standing right next to the speaker, the vibration and bass of that song would vibrate through you. You could literally feel it. So different tones and sounds affect the spirit. Certain music, it brings you to a certain feeling. Other music may bring you to a violent feeling. So I say all of this just to show you the different effects that tones and sounds have on the body, or the spirit, so to say. Not the body, but the spirit, the psyche of a person. Now, words are tones also. And men of the past understood this. There was a time where words were viewed as evil. Now, to civilized men, they would look at a society like that as uncivilized. Man, they view words as evil. But as I said, they were in tune with the life. So they didn't need words to communicate with one another. Now, if you're struggling on that, a lot of people in today's times have pets. And a lot of y'all that grew up with these pets, y'all have a relationship with the pet. Cat, dog, whatever it may be. And you understand your animal. Y'all communicate. You speak your language and the animal understands. Even though the animal doesn't speak how we speak. Now you subconsciously understand your animal. Even though you don't communicate the way the animal does. But being as though y'all have been around each other so long and y'all connected, you understand your animal. So you have to grasp. I say that so that you can understand that men do not truly need words to communicate. It is that we've been using words so much that we're knocked out of frequency of communicating without them. It's just like technology. Technology is knocking you out of frequency for using your brain. Calculators, these things stop men from thinking. There was a time when you had to remember all phone numbers. Now most people do not know phone numbers because it's stored in the phone already. So there's very little thinking going on in today's times. And it's because of the technology. It thinks for us. So it's a deep thing. The technology is good, but it knocks you out of frequency from the organic ways of things. So now if you tell a man in today's times, there was a time where men didn't speak because they viewed speaking as evil. You can only get lies through speaking. You can get the truth through speaking, but you'll get lies too. Now, communicating without speaking and just communicating the organic way, you can't lie when you just speaking through the natural ways of communication. Because body language, feeling, you walk in their house and your mother, the woman whose womb you came out of, is going through some sort of stress and she's pretending everything's alright. Because we've all been in that point in time in life where our mother is depressed. But she's trying to pretend that she's not for the kids' sake. But we always know, Mom, what's wrong? I know something wrong with you, Mom. What's going on? She didn't say a word to you. She even tried to pretend. But you so connected, you know. So that's that organic energy kicking in. Because it's in the DNA. You don't need words to communicate. That is just something that men eventually created. Before men were speaking, they were always communicating. So before men made words, they always communicated. The same way the animals communicate. The same way, if you go to certain villages, they still one with the animals. And they communicate with the animals. So I want y'all to grasp. There was a time where men viewed words as evil. And men understood the effects that tones could have on the spirit. Only certain men who are of pure spirit were taught words and how to speak. Because the words you speak, they come with tone. meaning the spirit that you speaking is the vibration or the energy that you pushing out. So it's not the words that you use, but it is the energy that you use them in. When you're yelling at someone, that is a tone. That is a force that you're pushing towards them. And it has effect on their psyche. And men of today times, they have become completely knocked out of frequency with the organic way of life and the true way that things go. It's a deep thing. The natives that were in America before Christopher Columbus came, I'm speaking of the Haitians, the Dominicans, all those Caribbean islands, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, North America, all these places, Mexico. You had many different nationalities, you can say. So you had the same nationalities that you have here. So you have Mexicans in Mexico with white people that came. So you still have Mexicans in Mexico, the same people that were there in the past, they're still there. You still have Haitians in Haiti. You just have white people that came and interacted with them. But my point is, you had the same people in the same places. In North America, you had black people. The same people you see now in North America, the same people you had. Now you just have the additional white people in other races, just like in Mexico and every other place you see here. But if you go back before all these other races were here, and it was just the copper colors, which would be the black people of North America, the Mexicans, they're the same complexion. All those Caribbean islands, the Haitians, the Dominicans, basically everybody that you see that look the same, but they just speak a different language. But you like a Dominican and a Haitian and a black man, ain't no difference between them. Well, that's what I mean. It's the same people of the land. Now, before white people came, they were in tune with the life. And these are our ancestors, and it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. They were deeply in tune with the life. They moved with the animals, and they communicated with the animals. A lot of things that were done, it's so deep I want y'all to grasp with the Native American. Now, you know we have different resources on different states in America. So let's say in Mexico you got cocaine. In North America, New York City, you don't. In Native American times, they would have animals transport resources back and forth amongst them. So deep and cold-blooded. Now, I know a lot of y'all are like, that's impossible. That's pseudo movie talk. But I want you to truly grasp. Y'all have pets now. And some of y'all have that bond and connection with the pet, which is slave and master thing, but still, nonetheless, y'all have that bond. You could send the pet to get the newspaper and all types of stuff. The pet truly understands. Some people, pets know when to go get their slippers. You go get my slippers, and the pet know what he's talking about. So you have to grasp. Now, they were more in tune with the animals of the wild. These weren't their pets. They viewed them as living beings also, equals, living their aspect of the life. In fact, they viewed the animals as wiser than them. And they viewed the animals as their ancestors. And it's a deep thing, but they were in tune with the animals the same way you in tune with your pet. But their bond was more deeper. They were born generation after generation amongst these animals. So the animals were not scared of them. There was a relationship and a bond. And they could literally send a wolf on a journey for them. And the wolves were connected. Animals have their own network and things. So don't get it twisted. Animals transport things amongst each other. from country to country. The animals in the sea, they transport different things from different parts of the country all over the world to one another. It's the same with the animals in the life on the ground. Now y'all have to remember in the ancient times, or not the ancient times, but in the past, there was more forest land than city. So there was more animal network, meaning there was more connections with the animals because there was more forest. So now, if I'm in my tribe, in my village, and let's say I'm in New York, and we need some coca leaf, we automatically think that they was trading this amongst each other physically. And it wasn't always like that. They would use the animals. They would have the wolf get the cocaine all the way in Mexico. Now, I know a lot of y'all like a wolf is not running all the way to Mexico. And that's not what I'm saying. The wolves have their own network in their own society amongst themselves. One wolf run to a certain point, cocaine in New York. The next wolf run to a certain point, and the word passed on. And the coke is transported back through the wolves, and they bring it from point A to point B and pass it on. 2-3 days later, your wolf, your best friend, because they didn't look at the wolves and the animals of the wild as their pets. They viewed them as equals, as I said, ancestors. Your wolf would come back with that coca leaf, and you would apply it to whoever was sick or whatever you needed it for. Now, as strange as that may sound to y'all, it is only because y'all are out of touch with the life. If you speak to any true Native American, I ain't talking about the fake ones that be on the reserves now, giving y'all this watered down knowledge of the natives. I'm talking about a real one. They'll tell you I'm telling y'all the cold-blooded truth, that real lost truth that's lost. Even if you go to small villages in Africa and you ask them, a lot of y'all got Facebook friends from Africa, ask them about their bond with the animals and the types of things that the animals do for them. And what I'm saying right now ain't gonna sound too crazy to y'all. It's just that we so knocked out of frequency with the life. Like, I'm trying to find the words to get y'all to understand what I mean by knocked out of frequency. Life is like this. You in line with the life. I don't know the words to use for y'all to truly grasp, but we so knocked out of alignment with the way that life is going, there's so much being lost as far as living go. We don't even have no interaction with the animals. I want y'all to truly think and grasp on that. The animals are a part of the life and we have no connection to them. Grasp how much is lost. In the ancient past, animals helped them do everything. They ain't need machines. For what? Animals are stronger than machines. We've just used them. They are part of the family. It was a deep thing. They had a real deep connection and bond with the animals. And it brought a whole different aspect to the life that we are missing out on. We got little pets, and pets can't be but so smart because they're slaved out. So they don't get to learn anything on their own. They just under your control. But the animals in the wild, they know. They out there. They know. They in tune with the life. They know everything from the beginning of time. It's passed down to them in that truth because they don't speak in words. They speak in the organic, true tongue of life, which is, I don't want to say kinetic, where you talking to somebody in their brain, but it's a sense of oneness where you don't need to speak to know what a person's feeling, thinking, and none of that. But it's not a sense of, I say something in my mind and then you hear it. That's movie stuff. This is what I mean by knocked out of alignment with the life. Because that's movie stuff. I'm talking in the sense of when you walk in the house and you feel your mom's is out of whack and something ain't right. You could damn near sense what's wrong if you truly start tapping in, like, what's wrong with her? Because you've been around her, you've been seeing what she doing, so you know what's going on. But you know how we are, we just move through the day, but you can feel it in that moment. You like, what's wrong with my moms? And you can probably figure it out on your own. And this is what I mean by they communicated in this way. You don't have to read a person's thoughts. We so lost in words that we think people floating around with words in their head. And people don't have words in their head. They have feelings, emotions, and thoughts. And they only become words when we speak. But before we speak, we got thoughts in our mind, and it come with feeling. And being as though we all in the same life, you can feel a man's thoughts and connect with the feeling. Being as though we all experience similar things. And they were just so in tune with the life, and they had so many different aspects to the life that we miss out on, like the connection with the animals. Imagine being able to send the beaver that live in your area to the store for you, or to run an errand for you, and they could literally do it. You take this note to my grandma, and the beaver could literally do it, to bring it from you to one beaver. That beaver will take it, bring it a certain distance, he'll pass it off, the next beaver. They communicate amongst each other, so that's nothing to them. That's what they do. Like, y'all don't pay attention to the animals. The animals move in harmony with one another. They have their network. We live complicated. They don't. Everything is simple. We think like, man, how could I get this from point A to point B? The animals see it as simple because they in tune with the life. They already know. I'll just run till I get tired and pass it off to the other wolf. He gonna finish the task for me. Because they move in harmony with one another. So it ain't no biggie for them. I got you, homie. Where this going? I need you to bring that note over there. I'll run as far as I can run till I get tired. I'll pass it off. It'll get there. Don't worry. That's how the animals move amongst one another. It sounds weird to y'all, but this is literally how they move. They move in one. And this is how the people of them times moved along with the animals. They took care of the animals. If they came to a certain area and they was about to build up their village in the forest, they fed the animals in that area for 7 days, sometimes longer, just to show honor to the animal and let the animal know that they come in peace. They do not come to take over their space, but they come to dwell amongst them. It's all respect and honor. We not here to take over. We just here to dwell with y'all. We want to be a part of your family, because the animals of the land is their mother. When you dealing with the animals, all animals have their mother, but they all view the land as their mother. Whatever area they live in, that's all the animals in that area mother. So you have to view it from that perspective when you're dealing with the animals, and they would feed the animals, pretty much work for the animals. So animals may hunt and do all of this. They'll feed the animals. Don't worry. Don't do nothing. Y'all just relax. We're going to build up our society, but we just want to dwell amongst y'all and be one with y'all. And the animals receive them in, and it be so cold-blooded, man. The animals will come give them gifts, like things y'all just don't have no understanding of. You having a bad day. Animals, they got that senses. They are deeply in tune. Now, back in them times, everybody had a best friend that was an animal. I mean, they had regular human best friends, of course, but animals was a part of the society. So everybody had a best friend animal. They may have had a few of them. You be feeling down, one of the animals will come along with some crazy, beautiful gift for you. Animal might run up on you and give you a gold nugget. Straight out the mouth. Here, that's for you. Like, that's how deep their life was. That's how tapped in they was. It was so much more experiences they had. that we just truly miss out on. And it's because we knocked out a frequency. We got to get that oneness back with the life. It's too much talking and teaching being taught, but there's so little truth. Everybody believes in gods. Everybody fails to remember that religion was forced on people. If you go to the beginnings of your religion, whatever it is, people were being killed if they didn't follow your religion. If you were Christian, Jesus was killed because he wasn't following the religion of the day. They crucified him according to your religion because he spoke blasphemy, meaning he was teaching something other than the religion of that time. So this is my point. Religion is forced on people. But before that point, men lived in harmony with the life. There was nothing over anything. You lose when you do that, and they understood that. If one of us rule over everybody else, we gonna lose out from all the knowledge that everyone will receive. If you limit a person, you limit their abilities, you limit what they will receive as far as knowledge go, and this limits you because they're a part of your tribe or your civilization. See, the government don't realize how many of us they're limiting. And when you limit us, you limit the beautiful things that can be brought to the life. And those in the past, they understood that. We're not going to rule over one another because when you do that, you take away from a person's spirit. And you don't know what great thing this person is destined to do. And we get lost in religion and we get lost on all the things that was pushed upon us. We think civilization means that you're smarter. And we see the uncivilized and we think, man, they were so uncivilized. And they weren't. They understood cause and effect. They understood where certain things led to. This is how in tune they was with the life. They say, man, words are evil. We're not going to use words. Certain people, we going to give them that knowledge. But for the rest of us, we going to speak in spirit how we always have. Now, civilized person say, man, they ain't civilized. They don't even have language. How they communicate? They communicate in truth through sight and through feeling. Because they in tune with one another. Y'all ain't in tune with one another because no one cares about anyone. All we care about is the bag and the bills. But there's no true care. Where's the connection? It's like I said, love is the glue in the life. It is that force that brings magnets together, that magnetic force that brings magnets together. That is what love is. It is the glue. It is the connection. Now, if don't nobody truly love nobody, well, this is why. Ain't nobody connected. Niggas don't even care about life. It's a deep thing. Everybody concerned with ruling over life and making others rule over life. And this is why y'all have religions and God. And y'all are so knocked off frequency of the life is so sad. Because beautiful, lovely spirits such as myself have to live in violent fashion. Because this is the only way I can survive. I'm not saying I'm a violent person, but just the life that I've lived in the past and the things that I've done, it's because of the flow of life. And it's a deep thing. You got so many beautiful, lovely spirits that are being limited. You got people being forced to live a certain way, not realizing that there's so many aspects of life that we're losing out on. When they came here to America, they chopped down trees. Y'all don't understand. They had trees that was 5,000 feet here. Now, I know a lot of y'all like, man, this nigga talking fairy tales. And it's because y'all know so little. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. trees grow forever. They don't ever stop growing. Now, I know y'all look around at the trees y'all see, and y'all don't realize ain't none of these trees really older than 50 years old. Because as soon as they get a certain height, they cut them down. And then they replace it with a small tree. And then you're like, oh, yeah, they fixed my block up. They put new trees in. No. They taking the big ones away, and they replacing them with little ones. Because they like trees to grow back. It don't matter. It's no big deal. But it is. Because before Christopher Columbus came here, the trees was 5,000 feet high. You had some tree trunks that were the circumference of a whole city block, meaning a city block, the square of it, the whole square of it. And you may have a high-rise building that consumes that whole city block. You had trees taller than the Twin Towers. The trunk the same size as the building. The veneers, the branches, man, the branches is bigger than the trunks of the trees that we have now. And you had forests and forests upon forests of this. I know it's hard for y'all to grasp and truly understand, but this is fact. You can actually look this up. They have certain pictures from like the 1800s, because this is still happening now. There's still places where the trees ain't. They got rid of all the 5,000 footers, the 1,000 footers. They got rid of all of these. But you have certain trees. How tall is the Twin Towers? However tall the Twin Towers is, they had trees that high, that tall, and thick. And they got rid of them all. They chopped them down. They have pictures from like 1902 where you see about 1,000 white men standing on one tree. The tree bigger than a 4-story house. And it's on the ground. But I mean, its circumference was so thick that it was thicker than the 4-story house. They standing on top of it. They look like little pebbles standing next to the tree. And you just think to yourself, damn, how big was that tree when it was standing up? And all the trees was like that in the past, because the ancestors didn't cut down trees. They cut down the new trees. They was gangster with it. You got to understand, like pine trees, pine cone trees, all trees, they shed their seed. Meaning the seed drops into the ground. So if nobody's there to keep up with the forest would just keep reproducing more and more trees until you get overgrowth. So the ancestors would just chop down the little new trees that's like 5 years old. The ones that look like the trees we have today. They chop those down. And they leave the ancestor big ones, the 1,000-footers. They leave those alone. They'll run around in those. It was part of the life. It was a deep thing. It's so much energy in the trees, man. You can get electricity from the trees. Why you think all the light poles? You see the wood with the... If you live in a block with houses, you see how the electricity run with the wooded light pole, with the wires hanging out of it, going to the next one. So trees is cold-blooded. And the trees was humongous. They were so big, you could have just carved you out of space in the tree and just made yourself a whole house in a tree. Because we build our houses out of wood, so why just chop the tree down? Just carve you out something in it and get busy. Like, this is how cold-blooded it is. It's so much of the life that we missing out on. And it's because of the way men live. It's a deep, deep, deep thing. We got to get back in tune with how things was. We got to stop looking at things biasedly, thinking like, I'm not talking about living off the grid and all this weird stuff. I'm talking about living the way we live, minus all the foolish stuff. We don't need skyscrapers and all this concrete and stuff. It's taken away from the life. All the living things in the life are energy based. And the energy sustains the energy. And when we take away from the light and we put concrete, which is not, that ain't nothing, and all these buildings and all these things that are artificial, we taking away from the energy of the light. It's a deep thing. It was a time where men didn't have lights at night. They let the nighttime be for the nighttime, meaning darkness. If the light say it needs to be dark at night, then you better not light no flame. You leave it dark. Now, they had no worries about nothing because they was one with the animals. So nighttime was just nighttime. And it was a deep thing because man could see at night, just like the animals. And it's because during the whole day they was getting that full charge from the sun. All day walking around. Now, the sun is more than just light, but it's pushing out all the energy that we could possibly need. One day worth of sun energies will probably last 5,000 years. But you know, their eyes was getting that organic sun energy the proper way. Now, we get sun energy, well, most people don't. We avoid the sun. So people be hidden in their cars, people be indoors, but we don't get that sunlight. We stay hidden away in the buildings and things like this. Back in those times, they had little huts and things like this. It was just for sleeping. Other than that, they was out in the life, experiencing the life, watching the life. The same way we watch the life on TV, they watch it in real lifetime. Spend a lot of time watching the animals learning. Men don't spend time learning no more. But it's a deep thing. They would get that sunlight in their eyes all day so that by the time nighttime came, eyes was like flashlights. Now, you don't have that ability no more because we avoid sunlight. We put shades on and all type of stuff. And then, when nighttime comes, we cut on that artificial light. You know, the light bulb. You cut that on. Now, the eyes going to receive the light. Our pupils, that part of the eye that's light, it receives in the light, which is supposed to be that sunlight or that moon energy light. That is what the light of the eyes is supposed to be feeding off. But instead, it's feeding off that artificial light that you got in your room or your house turned on. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. Because your eyes is receiving in that artificial light and it's having its effect. Meaning your eyes are not being powered, but they're losing power because it's trying to compensate for the artificial light that it's trying to receive in. Because it's mistaking it for sunlight. And it's pulling energy trying to receive it in, but it's not receiving no energy back because that light ain't real, it's artificial. Now, when the sun is shining and the light of your eyes is pulling in that energy from the sun, that's good. It's feeding on what it's supposed to. At nighttime, when the moon is shining in your eyes, the light of your eyes is receiving in that energy from the moon, that's organic. That's good. But when you sitting right under the lamp at your desk and that fake light shining in your eyes don't discern the difference. It mistake it for the moon or the sun. And it start pulling to receive that energy. But that energy ain't real. And it's energy being used and trying to receive in nothing. And this is why people start getting bad on their eyesight and things like this. You go back in native times before Christopher Columbus times, you ain't never seen no images of them drawing no... They ain't draw... You know how many elders was here in ancient times? Name one that had glasses. Think about it. You'll see images of the oldest Native American you could think of with the cloth over them, but they never had on glasses. Why? They always could see. They be 1,000. Or look 1,000. Never have on glasses. If you may be one of the lucky people that seen this, because there's always somebody that pop up like, no, I seen one. Most people ain't never seen the Native American. Think about when you see those uncivilized islands that they discover And there be aborigines to the island that live on there. And they be running around with the tunics, the loincloths over their privacies. And they pretty much uncivilized, how we would say. Now I want you to think. Because there be some real old ones there. They always got their elders. They be old. They be having no teeth and all types of things. Do they have glasses on? Think about when they show the slums of Jamaica and they show those real old dreads. And they be having, they dreads be so long and so old, be orange. They be about 89, 90 years old. No glasses on. Perfect vision. Why? Because they don't spend all their time consumed indoors. They're outside in the life. Ask the Jamaicans. They'll tell you, yeah, we spend a lot of time outside, getting that sunlight and that moonlight. And their eyes is receiving that in. And that energy is being used. And it's keeping the eyes good. And we on this side of the earth, sitting under the lamp. And the eyes is receiving that in. And it's wasting all its energy. Because that ain't doing nothing. So it's receiving in nothing. But it's giving up so much energy. It's a deep thing. It's like chasing food and never getting it. Now you're still hungry and you're tired. And that's why your eyes struggling with the sight as we get older. Because everything is cause and effect. The light bulb don't affect you right away. But this is how cause and effect works. It's over periods of time. Next thing you know, you 60 years old. Next thing you know, you 40 years old. Got on glasses. Like, damn, I can't see already. Got them brothers on the island. They 108. You don't need no glasses. He could see a fish in the river from his tent. It's a deep thing. Y'all don't realize. You can't even see who in front of you. You like, is that you, Jimmy? And this is how we are. It's a deep thing. We got to get back in tune. We got to get an understanding of life and the connections of the energy. We got to get back in tune with how tones have an effect on the spirit, the psyche of a person. So that we can communicate better with each other. And through the practice of that, we can come back one with the animals. Because that's the key to everything. When we can become back one with the animals, this is when y'all going to begin to see a change in the life. But first, the system has to disappear. Because this is the only way y'all going to ever be able to be around animals in the wild. Because if we don't do something fast, there's not going to be any animals in the wild. They're going to all be in zoos. It's a deep thing. But that's the key. We got to get back in tune with the understandings of tone, things like this. We got to get an understanding of the energies of life and how all living things have energy. The food you eat, whether it be vegan or meat, because I don't get into all that foolishness telling people what to eat. You have to know self to know the diet you need. You have to know the state of health that you're in to know the diet you need. You have to understand that there's business involved. If you're buying food from any store, I don't care how much you like the store, then if you ain't doing it yourself, you just got to have a brain and know. But at the end of the day, the food, the water, all things, living things, have atoms within them. Now, atoms is energy, positive, negative charge. Just like a light has negative energy, has a negative wire, a positive wire, and a neutral wire. And that energy together gives you energy, lights. All living things have atoms in them, which is the negative energy, the positive energy, and the neutral. And this is an atom. And there's billions of atoms within everything. So this is just to give you the perfect perspective that all things have so much energy within it. All things, from the food, the animals, the water, everything consists of energy, and we all feed off the energy. As for the living organisms, we get our energy from the sunlight and the moonlight and the falling rain water. Because water has atoms within them. It hits your skin with that sun energy, because energy is just like the physical things. You mix one physical thing with another physical thing, you get something new, something better. So the energies are the same way. That sunlight energy is a different kind of energy than water energy. The atoms that make up water give off a different level of energy because different atoms are within that. So just try to grasp what I'm saying. But the sunlight energy and the water energy is different energies, but they go together. And it brings about an exotic kind of energy. And this is what man needs. We're supposed to take baths and showers outside sometimes. During the heated times of the year, we're supposed to bathe and shower outdoors and let the sunlight dry us with that water energy and the sunlight energy plus our energy all combined and letting the skin absorb it in. We're missing out on a lot of things in the life that we need. It's a deep thing, man. It's a lot of restrictions going on. It's a lot of limiting. People are being so limited, y'all are missing out so many things in life. There's somebody right now that can do so much for the life. But they're so lost into the system that they're just trying to fit in. Because we're all groomed to try and make us fit in and be a certain way. It's a deep thing. If I didn't have the intellect that I have, I'd be a rapper right now. Because I'm one of the best rappers you never heard. And nobody will dispute this. People that know me will tell you, yeah, the nigga's cold-blooded with the lyrics. But now this is not, what I'm doing now is not as cool as being a rapper. But this could bring about a great deal of change in the world than I could as a rapper. This will be monumental if I can reach the people more than the rapping. And my point is that there's a young kid out there right now that he's destined to be the greatest scientist of the next generation to come. But being as though the life is how it is, so unbalanced with the peer pressures and people being so balanced and you have to eat this way and look this way and this and that, that child will be groomed into wanting to be a rapper of this thing or that. And this is what I mean by limits and restrictions are being put on us. And it's a deep thing, man. A lot of y'all are a lot smarter, or y'all are on a path, or was on a path, to be so much greater than you are now, but you got lost in the system. You lost your morality and your principles, and in that, you lost yourself. And you forgot what really mattered to your heart. And you went for what was cool in the world and what would get you riches. And it's a deep thing. This is why you got brothers like Mos Def just giving up rap out of the blue and just traveling the earth. Because people ain't really doing what they truly want to do in life. It ain't even a platform for that, for them. So it's a deep thing. It's sad, man. If a man had knowledge to build himself a beautiful, lovely ship out of, let's say, 100 logs, 100 tree logs, and he built himself a beautiful ship and decided he want to sail all around the world for 2-3 years and just experience what's going on in different aspects of the life. You know that man would actually have to pay to go into different countries. He would have to have a passport. There's so many restrictions that a man to get discouraged and say it's a waste of time, man. And this is what I mean. In the ancient times, not even ancient, in the past, the natives, they could build a boat, hop in it, and sail to India. It wasn't no goddamn rules that you had to pay the toll. There wasn't none of that. You sail to India, you sail to Africa, you sail anywhere you want. They just wasn't sailing where white people was. That was their mentality. Wherever the pale faces are, because they thought they was really ghosts. And demons, they viewed them as the remnants of the giants, like I keep telling y'all. So they viewed them as how they viewed the giants, like they gonna come and suck the life out of the life. They gonna come suck the blood out of our area. That's how they viewed it. So wherever they knew white people was, they didn't. But the natives of the land, they was going to Africa, they was going anywhere they want. Same with the Africans. There wasn't no restrictions. If you knew how to build a boat and sail, bye. See you when you get back. We don't have that luxury to just go where we want. If you ain't got enough money to pay for it, then you can't get a passport. There's always some kind of restriction. But in the past, it was easy. Man, hop in a boat with all his homies and just start sailing. You ain't have to be to work tomorrow. The life is open for you to just learn. That's how it was in the past. You took care of you sowed and then you reaped. The life pretty much did everything for us. Sowing, reaping, the life did that. You just gathered up. And ate, and you had all the time in the world to gain knowledge and learn and do whatever it is you love. If you decided, man, I'm building me a boat and I think I'm going to sail over, I'm going to just go sailing everywhere in life. Even in the Antarctica, I don't care. It wasn't no restrictions. Men ain't take over the whole life yet. So you do you. And much knowledge was acquired in those times because it was so much oneness in the life. And I just hope we get back to that point before I die. I just need to get the chance to live how I seen this. It's a deep thing. I don't want to scare y'all or get people lost into thinking, oh, Silas on some pseudo shit. Silas on. Like, but I really seen this, man. I seen how they lived in the past, and I'm intrigued by it. No man showed me. This is just divine intervention. But I don't want to go into all of that. But I had divine intervention many times, and I see so many things. A lot of the knowledge that I break down to y'all is things that I've seen. That's why it's so easy for me to explain it, because I've seen it. Through conscious, it's a deep thing, man, but I've seen how the ancients lived. And through me spending that time seeing how they lived in the past before Columbus, a lot of knowledge was soaked up. A lot. Please don't get lost and say, oh, Silas is high. Get real. Please just get real for a moment. All the things I just broke down in this video, if it touched your spirit, then you know I'm not going. I just be having divine intervention. And the way they lived in their oneness with the life, and to put into words what you see is hard, but the way they lived with the animals, that was the deepest thing. Like, the animals did a lot of things for them. And the animals, and you seeing the animals do the things for them, it gives you a sense to understand just how smart the animals was. But it's deeper than that, because even when they break it down, I want to explain this without y'all getting lost, because y'all get sidetracked. Some people get lost, but however it is that I was able to experience how they lived before Christopher Columbus came here, just grasp the way they broke down how they viewed the animals as the ancestors, being as the way that the animals didn't communicate with the words, where's how lies come in. A man can lie when he can use words. He can make up something, trick people. But when you're just dealing with the way the animals communicate where it's no words, they get that true passed down knowledge. So a zebra right now that live in Africa, he know everything about life that the first zebra ever brought into existence know. He know what every animal know damn near. Because there's nothing but truth with them being passed down. And the ancients, our ancestors from be tapping in, my head be starting to hurt. But when the ancestors when they dealt with the animals, they viewed the animals as the ancestors. Like, it's deep. I'm not sure. Well, I am kind of sure. Sometimes they felt like their dead ancestors would take certain animals and be a certain. So it might be a certain bear that lived in a certain forest next to the tribe, and they may view that bear as one of their ancestors. But aside from that, they viewed the animals as the ancestors just of the planet. They viewed the animals as the divine ones on the planet that you learn from, like big brothers. They viewed the animals like their elders. That's a better way to say, not ancestors. But they viewed the animals as the elders on the earth. They basically viewed the animals as being here before man, therefore they knew more. So they pulled from the animals as elders. And just the way they dealt with the animals, and just to see the animals in that light, it gives you a whole different perspective. Like, I want to live like that. And I just hope I get a chance to live like that before I die. The way they used to sit around the campfire. And they used to play certain little instruments. Like, they understood everything about the life and the oneness with it. They would light marijuana. Now, marijuana is a plant, but this is a peaceful plant. It's something about marijuana that's weird, but when you smoke it, they understood how it brought out a sense of peace in yourself. It made people even laugh and joke. It was a peaceful, fun drug. It was very harmless. That's how they viewed the marijuana. It's very harmless. Out of all the things we have, like tobacco, cocaine, and the opium plant, and all these different divine gifts of God, they viewed the marijuana, that was child. They give that to the children. Like, it wasn't no big deal with the marijuana to them. It was just a peace. It was the peace drug. So they would sit around the fire, all hit the peace pipe, which would have marijuana in it. Some of the kids would too. The energy from the fire, and they would play certain sounds and things on those little flutes they would make, and they understood the tones and the connection of the tones and how that affected the spirit, with the marijuana bringing you into the peaceful, playful energies. And it was a beautiful thing, the way they connected with one another in the evening times, because they did all this at night, because they understood that the energy that the moon push off is not as powerful as the sun's, but the moon is closer, so the energy has more effect on a person, if that makes sense to y'all. The sun's energy is more powerful than the moon. So when the sun is out, that's all you get. It blotches the moon out. Now, the moon is still there, but the sun is just more powerful, even though it's farther away. But as we all know, the sun sets, and it gives the moon a time alone with us. Now, the moon is a powerful light, and it's way closer to us than the sun. So we get more influence or more effect from that energy, and they understood that. So at nighttime, man, they did a lot of tapping in, and it was just a deep thing. I wish I could just take y'all into my mind and take y'all to these places to just see how I see, because it's so deep, man. We losing out. We losing out so bad. When the white man came around and started coming into every nation and conquering it, during the process of them conquering it, so much was lost. The way of life, a lot of things in the life, certain seeds, certain foods went extinct. Like certain fruits and vegetables went extinct when they was chopping down certain trees and just conquering certain nations. A lot of things were lost, ways to live and things like this, because they were already set on the type of life they wanted to create, where they were going to conquer. So they didn't really have no sense to listen, like, oh, no, let's look at the way we live first before you make a choice. They didn't give the Native Americans a chance. They already had in mind, we got to make this the new Amsterdam, the new Europe. So they weren't paying attention to what was going on with the natives. This is why when they raided the tobacco farms and the cocaine farms that the natives had, when they raided them, they forgot that there were recipes. So they had to go back and get the recipes, a lot of recipes to the cocaine and marijuana and tobacco farms. A lot of their recipes were lost. When I say recipes, I mean the different mixtures of the drugs for different purposes. The ancients had all this written down. They called it like books of spells and things like the Egyptians did. And different mixtures. The cocoa plant with this, and if you have this, you could use this for that. And when they were raiding these places, they was losing so much knowledge because they was being so thirsty they didn't even realize, like, oh, it's a whole system to the way they live. They don't just live like this because they don't know better. They live like this because they know better, and they got a whole system to this thing we don't understand. And maybe if we just sit a minute and try to grasp, it may be better than the way we live. They just came over there, seen, and they just took whatever they could take that they felt was better than theirs. Whatever they couldn't grasp at that moment, it was destroyed. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp, because now a lot of us are lost in those ways that we were born into. And that's why I say I wish everybody could just get a chance to see how I've been blessed with the opportunity to see many things that y'all just can't perceive right. Like slavery. It's not completely like how y'all think. It was a sad thing. Not because what was happening, because what y'all think was happening was not. It was deep. Y'all get lost on certain cases of things that happen. So Kunta Kinte got his foot chopped off, and we tend to think like this was happening to everybody, and that was not the case. Different masters was different than one another. Some were nice, some were mean, some treated their slaves better, but none of this matters. What matters is they lived in a certain way, and that is what we have to get back on. And this is why you have to understand, when I be teaching y'all certain things, y'all got to grasp. When I say you got to learn from the life, they learned from the life. They didn't teach one another. They guided you. They guided the children. They let the children learn from Mother Earth. They gave all regards to the earth, the trees, the things of the life. They understood the connection between trees and the earth, like how I broke down to y'all in the past, how the trees become the earth. The same way an apple falls from the tree, is buried in the dirt, and eventually becomes its own tree. So the same way the tree comes from the ground, it falls to the ground and it decays into the ground and becomes the ground, because that's what it truly is. You are what you came from. It's a deep thing, but they understood all these correlations, and they learned from these things, and they let the life teach them. And if they taught someone something, you see how when I teach y'all, I always tell y'all, man, I learn from the life. So I never give myself the honor and say I'm the wisest man on the earth because I'm wise. I always tell you, man, I'm the smartest mother effer on the planet. But I always say I learn from the life. So all the glory goes to the life. I'm telling you, learn from the life. I don't never be like, oh, you need to learn from me. You need to learn from the life. I help guide you to grasp, but that need to be your end results. And they were the same way. They'll guide you, and they'll teach you, but they'll tell you, like, you got to learn from Mama Earth. When they're teaching you, in the ancient times before Christopher Columbus, now I don't know if this is written down or nothing. Like I said, I see this. But they would tell the youth, as they were teaching them certain things, that Mama Earth taught them this, in that they have to learn from Mama Earth. Like, this is what she's here for. You just have to get in that to learn from her. The same way you learn from me, you have to begin to get comfortable and trust that this is your home and this earth is your mother. And she got you. As long as you in balance, and everyone that's living in your environment is living in tune and in balance in the same order of life, or the earth lives in, give and receive, and you have nothing to worry about. Animals won't attack you. People won't attack you. No one to take from you. It's all a giving thing. So everyone's receiving. They taught in that aspect. So it wasn't no distortion in trying to distort a child to be like, oh, he's my master teacher. They wasn't looking for that honor. As they just wanted you to honor the earth because they understood, man, as long as you don't get lost from your connection with the life, then my life could be good. Because you won't be doing no dumb stuff like what's happening now. As long as you don't get strayed off, then life will be good. Once you get strayed off, others is going to stray off with you. This is going to cause an imbalance. And I don't need those headaches. So they tell you from jump, you got to learn from Mama Earth. There wasn't no master teachers before white men came and all this weird stuff y'all talk about now. That was just sick. Like truly sick. To teach someone as if you made the life. They had so much respect for the life, the animals, and the trees in the same sense I do. I just couldn't possibly see myself saying I'm a master and all this weird stuff that y'all say. And that God gave me this knowledge. Like, that's a lie. The life is what I learned from. I taught myself everything. Nobody taught me nothing. But I learned with the help of the life. From observing. The same way most people learn before they corrupted. That happens around the time you 5. But before that point, you learn from digging in the dirt, playing with caterpillars or whatever you did, but you learn from the earth. And this is how men stayed on track with the life. Once you separate a man from the life and you start telling them, no, I'm God and this is God and worship this and learn from this book, then you separate him from the life and all the living things in the life. Next thing you know, he lost in business. He looking to build cities to separate himself more from the life. I know y'all love cars, but a car ain't better than a horse. It's nothing better than being connected with the living things in the life. You could ride on a bull. You could ride on a buffalo. You could ride on anything you choose. But you want to waste time building metal cars. That's going to be the reason why you got to take away from the forest and all the life in it. Because now you got to build streets. It's a deep thing. In the ancient past, they ride on anything. The elephant. They were so in tune with the life. A goddamn eagle would pick them up by the shoulders if they were light enough. Because don't get it twisted, an eagle is strong. An eagle will pick up a 100-pound man. Scoop up a 100-pound man and drag him about a mile. Help him out. Get wherever he's trying to go. Like they were in tune with the life. Please don't put this down as no pseudo. This is the truth. For some reason, y'all live pseudo. Your car is pseudo to the horse. It say 400 horsepower. Yeah. 400 fake horses. Because it's an imitation of that. And it's a deep thing y'all got to grasp. The things I'm telling y'all ain't pseudo. Y'all live pseudo. And that's why y'all can't discern the difference. It's a deep thing. I never did a video an hour long. So it's the first time for everything. And I hope y'all enjoying every moment of it, man, and y'all eating it up. Because I'm truly in humbled, peaceful spirits. As I told y'all in the past, I meditate. And I tapped in right before I did this video. I usually don't do that. I usually tap and do my meditation. Get my little oneness from the life. Try to acknowledge every piece of it. Like I take in everything. I pay attention to how I breathe. How much air is going in. So I could just, until I get to a point where I can feel every aspect within. I can feel the beats of my heart in my thighs. Like it's a deep thing. I can feel everything. And I meditate like that and I zone off, and the divine conscious or spirit comes and it takes me. And this is how I learn divine things. And then when I come, I look at the life and then I see that what I learn is right. because it's still in the life, because the life is just one day. But it's a deep thing. I never do videos this long. I tapped in before I did this one, so this is why I'm in peaceful spirits the way I am. This is humble spirits. I just want y'all to get the message. That's the main thing. No ego intended in this video here. Because this one is the deep one, man, and it means so much. I just want y'all to truly grasp how much of the life we missing out on and how we're guiding our young, guiding us down the wrong path. With all this business stuff and all this, it's a deep thing, but it's your main man, Solace. I'm tired. Hopefully I eventually reach y'all, because I just want to get a chance just to show y'all the way the ancients or the ancestors are. I just want to show y'all my vision of what I seen, how they were living. And the only way I can show y'all is if I can get y'all to help me create it. Recreate what I seen and the way they lived and the way they were teaching one another. Like, I don't want y'all to get lost and think, oh, he talks some make-believe stuff. I seen them interacting in how they lived. No pictures. Real life. You can say I went back in time and I got a chance to see how they lived. I get to hear them speak and how they interact with one another. And they were strong people. It's deep. When you see them, they like us. Except we just so weak now. It's like, yeah, what the fuck? Slavery broke them down so bad. They were so strong in the past. And they were so at peace because they didn't have a need for nothing. It was a deep thing. The way everybody was just in a sense of peace. It almost looked like they were sad. But I could feel them. So they weren't sad. They was just in a state of peace. It was no true worries. It was just... You look at certain pictures of the ancestors, man, and they look like... And that was just a peaceful state. It wasn't nothing wrong with them. They was just... They didn't have the egos and things where we have to look cool. None of that mattered to them. They was just in tune. They wasn't paying attention to how their face looked. Oh, I don't look tough. They was just at peace. You can get your ass bust, that was on you. But how they looked and how they treated you had to do with the life. So if you had to get your ass bust, they would have still stayed in the peaceful state and just bust your ass in lesson sense. Like, oh, I'm about to kill you, but you have to learn because you just don't want to get it. And then scalp your ass and be in peace. It was a deep thing. The wildness didn't come until the white man came. That's when people started getting out of whack with the frequency and like emotions started running high, and they brought a whole different energy that just knocked the natives completely. It knocked them out of their energy field. And I understand why. The whites came with a whole different kind of way of thinking and a whole different energy set. And that, it overwhelmed the natives. It was a deep thing. Being as though they in that peaceful, humble state. Not saying that they couldn't fight back or nothing like that, but just to be in a peaceful state and then have to tap out of that and go into your animal state because you're dealing with animals. It's a deep thing. That knocks you out of your whole element. It knocked them off their frequency to where they almost became like the white men. Because they had to get into their animal instincts to fight these niggas. And a lot of their morality was getting lost in the things they had to do to basically try to keep their territory. Because white men live by different rules than they live. They live by certain aspects in their life. There were certain things you didn't do. If you killed somebody, you did it in respect still. It was no dishonor in life. You had to keep it 1,000. If you got to kill a man, you got to kill a man. But you're going to do it in respect, and you're going to give him his proper honors as a son of the life. Just like you are. And all that kind of stuff got lost. Men start pissing on men after they kill them and spit on them. There was no regards. Because this how white men was playing. And if you see one of your loved ones, You see one of your loved ones hung upside down on a goddamn piece of wood, hanging from a tree. You be like, man, when I catch one of them white motherfuckers, I'ma scalping him. I'm wearing this nigga's head like a hat. I'ma dishonor this nigga's body like it takes you out of your frequency. Where you like, I'm going to their level. I don't give a fuck. That was my man they did that to. So this is what I mean by they knocked them so out of their energy. They knocked their whole peaceful aura in their way, because they never get knocked off their square of peace, no matter what was going on. If it was war between different villages, the sense of peace was never lost. The elders always kept that sense of peace, and there was always control through the elders. So young men have to learn. You have to let them war. You have to let them learn. But nothing was never going to get out of hand. The elders was always there to overwatch. It's just like now. You let your let the boys fight. They got to learn and see who tough. Let us see. But you ain't going to let them kill one another. And they know that. So when I was growing up, some of the elders would let us square off and fight. But if they see me getting dirty or one of us pick up a bottle, you get yoked up. Don't do that, nigga. That's your brother. I know it's not like that in today's times, but when I was growing up, that's how it was. You get slapped in your face if you did some weirdo shit like that. Nigga, that's your brother. Y'all just having a fight for this moment. You can't fucking stab him. You can't hit him in the head with a bottle. The elders will tell you that. Nigga, we just letting y'all fight and burn that steam off, but you can't be trying to kill them. So we grew up understanding that. Like, and that's how they was, the way I seen it with the natives. You have little villages and different tribes warring with each other, but it was minute. It wasn't deep. The elders had all control. They just let them learn. Like, they gotta learn. Somebody might get killed. That's no big deal. As long as it don't get out of hand where you get to the point where it's being dishonored. A lot of dishonors happening in life where, you know, motherfuckers is getting their heads chopped off and hung on stakes. When you see that in the Mayan times, you gotta grasp. Wait, that's the giant times. It's a deep thing y'all gotta grasp about the history of life. But that was the giant times. Wherever you see pyramids, man, that's the cities, the ancient cities of the giants. And the white people will be the remnants of them. This is what they basically breeded themselves down to be. By breeding with us, they pretty much breeded themselves out of existence and just become regular sized men, but they still white. But this don't have nothing to do with that. The main thing is we got to get back one with the life. And I'm going to end this video with that. It's your main man Solace, Chief Elder Solace, the humble servant, or whatever you like to call me. But just know, people got to hear these messages that I'm bringing to the life. Y'all got to start the same way I'm bringing people to the life. If you view me, you got to start bringing people to the knowledge so I can guide them to the life. It's a deep thing. Don't be selfish with the knowledge for yourself and you just watch me and forget about everybody else. It's about balance. It's a deep thing. Y'all be like my apostles. And y'all bring the flocks in so they can grasp and people can start to learn from the life. It's a deep thing. We got to get back in balance. And I think I could be the one to help y'all because I understand it's a deep thing. But I ain't going to go on no more. Y'all be groovy. Good night.